The Last Stand drops you into a zombie siege with nothing but a pistol, a barricade, and no chance in hell. But if you fight hard enough, utilize your daily hours smart enough, and keep your people alive, this screen, the chopper, you might actually earn it. This was one of my favorite Flash games as a kid, and somehow it's still just as addicting today. Welcome to the Flash Corner, our little section of the game vault where we preserve the weird, wild, and unforgettable games from the browser era. Every week we shine a light on one of these short, addicting games that's been burned into our childhood memories. And today's entry is The Last Stand. You start with just a pistol and a barricade between you and the zombies. You survive a night and you get 12 hours to prep. You split those between repairing the barricade, searching for weapons, or trying to find survivors. But here's the catch with it. Every time you send people out to search for weapons or other survivors, you have a chance of losing them. So it's sort of a gamble. Every weapon is earned in an order, there's no RNG to it. You fill a search bar called the find-o-meter, and when it hits 100%, you get the next gun in the chain. Survivors help with offense, but they're just as useful for repairs. Each one adds 5% more per hour. So when the wall starts breaking down, the numbers matter, and the more survivors you find, the less amount of time you have to spend repairing your barricade. The barricade also has a percentage, but it also falls apart visually, which I thought was pretty cool for a Flash game. Once it drops low enough, your team will panic and they'll run away, and then the zombies will come and eat you. There's 20 nights you must survive, and if you die, you can replay the same night, but you can't reallocate the time, so that's saved. You'll have to restart the entire game if you want to start over with that. So it's just you, your survivors, 12 hours a day, and the slow grind towards the chopper. The Last Stand nailed the tension. Every night felt like a gamble. You only had 12 hours each day to prep, like I said, and early on, most of that went straight into the repairs because you barely had any help. Finding survivors wasn't just nice, it was necessary. Without them, your barricade would crumble in a single bad push. But it wasn't just the loot, it was the details. Every weapon felt unique. Some were better at picking off zombies from a distance, others were built for close quarters panic when they started piling into the barricade. And the gore, for a Flash game, it was brutal. The leg shots would buckle their knees. If you landed headshots, their heads would explode and teeth and blood would fly everywhere. It felt crunchy and satisfying every time you pulled the trigger. The enemy variety kept ramping up too. Later nights in the game would bring SWAT-style zombies with helmets and body armor. You had to aim smarter and act fast when the barricade started to take hits. It was just you and whatever squad you scraped together, holding out for one more night. But the genius was how it was looped. You find survivors, patch up the barricade, feel just a little safer, and then lose half your team during a search the next day. That back and forth, it made the run feel alive. Like things could fall apart at any second. It's addicting, sharp, and somehow still hits harder than a lot of full games, especially once you find the chainsaw. And for a free game stuck in your browser, it's wild how well it still holds up today. The Last Stand isn't just a Flash game people remember. It's one they played for hours, over and over, in a class if they were sneaky or they had a cool teacher, at home when they could find a browser. It wasn't the only Flash zombie game out there, but it felt like the one with stakes, strategy, tension, consequence. You weren't just mowing stuff down, you were scraping by, trying to keep your people alive, knowing you could lose them in the next bad search. A lot of Flash games were built around quick laughs and wild concepts. But The Last Stand had structure, atmosphere, and actual progression. It's part of the reason why when people think of the golden age of Flash, this is one of the first games they bring up. And it spawned a whole franchise. The Last Stand 2, Union City, Dead Zone. But even after all those, the original's loop still hits the hardest in my opinion. There's something about the simplicity, the balance of risk and reward, the way it keeps you right on the edge. It just stuck. It didn't need polish or a budget, it just needed tension and a damn good loop. And in my opinion, it definitely earns a place in the game vault. There are Flash games that made you laugh, ones that made you rage, and every now and then one that made you sit still. The Last Stand was that one. It didn't scream at you, it just dropped you behind a barricade, handed you a pistol, and said survive. For a lot of us, this was one of the first times a Flash game felt like it had real weight to it. It's simple, sure, but that simplicity hides a smart design loop, a heavy mood, and a surprising amount of care. It's proof you don't need size or spectacle to make something unforgettable. That's why it's in the vault, because even after all these years, The Last Stand still holds its ground. And that's another entry in the Flash Corner, a newer series on the channel, where we're preserving the weird, wild, unforgettable world of browser games. If you grew up with games like this, or just want to see more of what used to rule the internet, hit that sub button and take a look around the vault. Let me know in the comments what Flash games you want to see next, and whether The Last Stand still holds up in your memory. But as always, I'll see y'all later.